Right, we're at the Henry Colbeck's What's Cooking Expo 2026, and it's picking up already. It's only been open 10 minutes and the cars are building up. Henry Colbeck's one of the oldest suppliers and family business for the fish and chip industry since I think it's 93, 1900s anyway. So it's been doing all right. So let's get in there and check it out.
Well, what a fantastic day. We had a great time. We really did. Really enjoyed it. It was fabulous. Really was. And all these company names that have been flicking by here in the corner, just a fraction. There was around 80 stands and some incredible product. There really was. I even got a few souvenirs. I was talking to Georgina Colbeck for a little while there. Absolutely lovely. These are the events that people who own a chippy or takeaway or are connected in some way, even work in some of these chippies, should get down there to these events because they're a great day out. There's loads of food to sample, which, you know me. I did a little bit more than sampling. Now, I appreciate that there's a lot of people that can't make these events. Money's tight, really tight. It's tight for everyone, and I appreciate that. And that's why we set up the Chippy Tour, to support our fish and chip shops. But if you can make it to one of these events, even if it means driving there and back in the same day, you're going to love it. You really are. There's so many things, so many people to network with and get ideas from. We spoke to so many people. But yeah, I got my little knickknacks here. I got a Henry Colbeck wheelie bin, so I'm going to keep that on my desk with my pens. And I got a few pens from different people here. Amanda 555. Oh, look at that. I didn't even notice there's a little key on the bottom, just like you would with the old Spam tins. I like that. I didn't even notice that. Although roe isn't something that's popular throughout the country, it's not popular with everyone either. I'd sampled some of their stuff and it was really nice. When I was down in Weston-super-Mare, it was the first time I tried roe in batter. I tried to sample some of their stuff on their stand and loved it. So people are getting more involved in trying different fish species as well as fish products, seafood products. Now, there was Alaskan pollock there, and you could sample it. You could sample these things, and they made them into tacos as well, which were quite spicy. And it was delicious. It was absolutely delicious. So if you get a chance to try pollock anywhere, safe, other species of fish than your regular, give it a go, because a lot of chippies now are experimenting lightly with different species of fish. And it's fantastic. We all get stuck in this thing, don't we? It's either cod or haddock. Some people won't leave cod, some people won't leave haddock. But there are so many other species to try. And there's not a huge difference between some of them either. But there is on the price. And that's helping a lot of chippies too. And it'll obviously help the customer with their pocket. Spitch from KJ's. And a lot of people know KJ's. They supply most of the fish and chip shops in the country with their curry sauces. Absolutely fabulous. Fabulous people. We met the family and we're going to get down to their factory or their plant or whatever it might be called. It's going to be huge. We're going to get down there for the night. So we'll do a video on that. And that's what I'm going to try and do more of. Visit a lot of places and get to see how things work and put a video up. Because that's what it's all about. Giving people an idea of what happens in the industry. I've mentioned this before, but a few years ago, I knew very little about the fish and chip industry. Food's a different thing, but the industry itself, I knew very little. And someone would say there's a great chippy around the corner, and that would be the extent of it. But getting to do this, I've visited now 180 fish and chip shops over. I had no idea what went into it. The people, how they rely on it, the families, the generations of people that have got involved. The huge industry that's backing these fish and chip shops. It's incredible. It really is. I'm loving it. I am. Middleton Foods is another one we'll be visiting. Their plant, their factory, and we'll get to see how things work there too. And again, I'll try and do a little bit of a video. We'll have an interview and we'll have a chat. And we're going to do, like I said, we're going to do a lot more of them. So I just put this little video together to give you an idea of what goes on inside these events. And we're going to take a little bit of a walk around here. And Big Al's here is a part of KPAC, and it's a huge, huge business. Something I'd really like to have a proper look at some point. But the food was incredible. And all the guys here that were working behind the counter, cooking away and serving everybody free food, it was fabulous. It really was. And this is what I'm saying. You can make a day of it. And there was lots of little places like this. There was even an area where you could sit down, and I'll show you that in a second. Now, it did get busier than what you're seeing here, a lot busier. So you really want to get there early if you're going to go to any of these events, because people try to, it seems, coincide their time there with lunchtime. Like Winnie's sausages were there, pucker pies, there was all kinds of food you could sample. Molino Iaquoni. I'm from the northern England, so I can only just speak English, according to some. So, fabulous. Now, they had a flour, and they were showing off their flour with this pizza. And they did a few kind of other bits and pieces, but it was all really on the pizza, and it was perfect. It was absolutely incredible. And I visited that a couple of times. Now, these two looked a bit shady, so I had a word with security, but I think they managed to slip the net. Now, the guy in the blue jacket, that's Andrew Crook, and he's the president of the Federation of Fish Fryers. And they've got the National Fish and Chip Awards in London. I think it's on the 24th. We'll be there for that. So really looking forward to it. Now, the guy behind him in the brown jacket, big smile, great head of hair, and a blue shirt, that's Austin Dack from Chippy Chat magazine. Now, I get that every month. They send that to me. They send it to a lot of fish and chip shops. If you haven't read it already, or you're not subscribed to it, I recommend you get on board with that, because it's a fantastic magazine. It really is. And Austin Dack, fantastic. They both are. Both fantastic guys. As you can see in this picture, there's plenty of seating. Well, there's enough seating, and people are moving around, so they're only stopping for a few minutes, have a cup of coffee, cup of tea. That was all put on. There was water, you could get juice. There was bar there, so you could get yourself an iron brew. So there was lots of stuff going on. Now, just to the side there, they were serving up some fantastic food. They really were. Because these are sort of little makeshift kitchens. And it was amazing what they were turning out. It really was. But I had fish tacos, which were kind of spicy. Really nice. And Alaskan pollock, it was amazing. It was beautiful. It was fresh. It was white. It was flaky. And I could have stood there eating the little bits that they gave me at the time. I could have had a lot more. And you can just keep going back as well if you want to keep eating more food. But there's a lot of food, so you don't fill yourself up. They're only meant to be samples, but there's a lot of samples. So, and you can make a day of it, and that's what we did. We were there from 10 o'clock until 3 o'clock, I think, but we had 2.5 hour drive to get home to Cheshire. So, it wasn't so bad. But we'd stayed the night before. We visited a couple of fish and chip shops the day before, and there's going to be a versus between those two chippies.
There can be only one.
So check out the YouTube channel. In fact, do more than check it out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to help me get out and visit more fish and chip shops to support the industry. And that's what the Chippy Tour is all about. The Chippy Tour is the only social media platform dedicated to the fish and chip shop industry. Now, Sarson's Vinegar were there, and we had a good chat with them, and they're going to try and sort something out for us to go and visit their factory, which isn't too far from us anyway, really. So hopefully we'll get to do that sometime this year. So that's it. And like I say, if you get a chance to visit one of these events, do it. You won't regret it. It's great for networking. It's great to try new foods that you haven't tried before. And yeah, we really had a great day. So thank you to the Henry Colbecks for the event, and we'll see you again on the next one.
Oh, na, 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 it's the Chippy Tour, cruising the coast, can't ignore. With every bite, I'm loving it more. Saving the chippies, that's what I'm for.